first responders, who we mentioned before, the work that they have done since early in the morning, and they have not stopped since, is truly remarkable. These are individuals who, in the middle of the night, jumped into some very challenging environments, some very challenging territories, and have not stopped in their quest to making sure that each and every person is seen and supported and lifted up. And so to our first responders, today and always, we just want to say from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. We've also had the chance to speak with both the President and the Vice President, who have been full-throated in their support of everything that we're doing here in Maryland, and we just want to say how grateful we are to them, how grateful we are to the Secretary of Transportation and the Department of Transportation, who within hours of this happening, I was on the phone with the Secretary of Transportation. I think Secretary Buttigieg called me at 3:30 in the morning. And now he and his entire team have been down here this afternoon spending time looking at the efforts, looking at the damage, and also identifying what they can do to support and help. Can't tell you enough how much we appreciate that, Mr. Secretary. And also, please let the President and the Vice President know from the bottom of our heart how much we appreciate it as well. We've also had a chance to be here with our remarkable congressional delegation. From the earliest parts of the morning, our congressional delegation has been there throughout. And I always say I'm grateful that I've got such a remarkable congressional delegation. And today, I just have another example as to why I am a very lucky governor to have the congressional delegation that I have. And also our state, our local elected officials. Mayor Scott, who literally got a call from the very first thing in the morning. I know you have had no rest in a very long time, sir. And so I want to say how much we appreciate you. But also it's to the members of the philanthropic community who've been reaching out and offering support. It's the members of the private sector who've been reaching out and offering support. It's the sandwich companies who have said we're going to shut down because we just want to make sure that the first responders are getting meals. Everybody has stepped up. Everybody has raised their hands to serve. And I can tell you, it is so deeply appreciated. It's so deeply felt. And for everyone who is offering prayers and supports, I can tell you those prayers are working and we are grateful. And the thing that I would ask for people to remember is this. The first, this is very much still a search and rescue mission. We are still actively looking for survivors. We know, and that's the pledge we've made to these families, and this is still very much an active search and rescue mission. And there is not a single resource that we will hold off on deploying. I have already authorized the deployment of everything from air, land, and sea resources to make sure that this search and rescue operation is carried out to its fullest intent. The second thing I want to remind people is that this will not be short. There's going to be a long road. There's going to be a long road, not just as we go from search and rescue. There'll be a long road as we talk about what does the future of this region, the future of the area look like. And we're going to need each and every one of you. We're thankful to have partners like what we have in the Biden-Harris administration. We're thankful for the partners that we have in our federal delegation. We're thankful for the partners we have in our state and local leadership. We're thankful for the partners that we have in the private sector and the philanthropic community. We're thankful for the partners that we have within the Moore-Miller administration. We're thankful for each and every one of you, both Marylanders and non-Marylanders who have reached out and offered support. We feel it. We need it. And we are truly grateful for it. And I think just in this time, this state has been able to show what it means to be Maryland tough and Baltimore strong. And this state and this city will continue to show exactly that. And so with that, I want to turn it over to our Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, with a deep sense of thanks and appreciation. Oh, I apologize. Before I turn it over to Secretary Buttigieg, I want to turn it over to the dean of our delegation, and someone who has been leading from the front this entire time, and we are deeply grateful for the leadership of Senator Ben Cardin.
Governor Moore, first of all, thank you very much for getting our whole team together to meet this challenge. And our prayers are with the families of those that are lost at sea at this moment. As the governor said, it's still a search and rescue. So we are hopeful, and we are with the families. I also want to underscore our thanks to our first responders. They did an extraordinary job, acting very quickly and saved lives. So we thank our first responders for everything that they have done. I just really want to underscore a couple points. Our first priority is the search and rescue for those that were on the bridge. We then need to make sure that the channel is reopened. It's critically important to our economy. It affects many, many jobs. It affects not only jobs here in Maryland, but around the country and world. So our next priority is to make sure we get that channel opened. And then we also need to fix and replace the bridge for the surface transportation. We're going to work together as a team. I am very impressed by all the partners that are with us today. We heard from them at the state level, the local level, at the federal level. I particularly want to acknowledge our federal partners. The Secretary of Transportation is with us. We have the Coast Guard. We have the Army Corps of Engineers. We have the investigators. We have the Small Business Administration. They're all here because of the commitment of the partners to work together. A special thanks to President Biden, who's made it very, very clear that he'll do everything in his power to make sure that we get the help we need to deal with this challenge. But as Secretary Buttigieg told us in our briefings, he's going to need the help of Congress in order to get things done. So I want to acknowledge our team, Senator Van Hollen, my partner in the United States Senate on the Appropriations Committee, and the work that he's doing. Congressman Mfume is here. Congressman Trone is here. Team Maryland, our federal delegation, is committed to working together. Senator Van Hollen and I got calls from our leadership that said they're prepared, Secretary Buttigieg, to do everything that we need to do in Congress to make sure you have the resources and the federal partners have the resources in order to get the job done. So I want to thank Senator Schumer for his call and his comments. Senator Murray, Senator Carper, Chair of the Environment and Public Works Committee, have all been in touch with us. It is a team effort, and we're going to make sure that we do everything we can to protect our economy and protect the people of our state. And with that, let me just turn it back to the governor or Secretary Buttigieg. This guy woke all of us up early this morning, so thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to thank Senator Cardin and the entire delegation for their leadership. They have been on this from the first moments. And as the Senator mentioned, and I'll say more about this in a moment, we'll be needing to work together to make sure that we render all of the support that is needed at the federal level. I want to recognize the leadership of Governor Moore, who was already wide awake and hard at work when I reached him in the middle of the night. We just had a very informative briefing with his extraordinary leadership team, and I was moved to see the partnership between state as well as county and city personnel, led by the county executive and the mayor, working hand in glove with us and with our sister federal agencies. And if there's one thing I have to say today, it is a note of gratitude for the extraordinary and courageous work of the first responders, some of whom are in that cold water right now, some of whom are from right here, some of whom have traveled in to render mutual aid, all of whom are responding with extraordinary professionalism and whose work has already saved lives. And to those state, county, and local responders, I would add the extraordinary work of the United States Coast Guard. We should also recognize that this is an excruciating day for several families who went to bed last night having it be a normal night and woke up today to news that no one wants to receive. They are hoping and praying, and we are hoping and praying with them. We are all putting our arms around the community of Baltimore, and that is true for all of this country. I've even heard from counterparts as far away as the United Kingdom reaching out to express their support to the people of Baltimore. As been mentioned, been in close contact with the governor, the mayor, county leadership, and the congressional delegation. And as President Biden has made clear, the federal government will provide all of the support that they need for as long as it takes. This is no ordinary bridge. This is one of the cathedrals of American infrastructure. It has been part of the skyline of this region for longer than many of us have been alive. So the path to normalcy will not be easy. It will not be quick. It will not be inexpensive. But we will rebuild together. In order to make sure that happens, the President's plan is to work with everyone here in order to rebuild this bridge and reopen this port, including our readiness as a department to approve emergency funding as soon as we receive that request. Meanwhile, our Maritime Administration will help with port, harbor, and supply chain operations. Our Federal Highway Administration will assist when it comes to the bridge itself and any ways that we can help ease roadway congestion for residents and commuters who can no longer use this major thoroughfare. The Federal Aviation Administration is even involved, working to keep the airspace above the bridge clear for emergency personnel. PHMSA, our Pipeline and Hazardous Material Safety Administration, is on the scene to help with any hazmat issues, and our newly stood up freight office is already at work preparing for supply chain impacts that we know are coming because of the importance of this port, not just to the Baltimore region, but really to the entire United States economy. We're going to be working closely with the National Transportation Safety Board as they lead their independent investigation, and with the Coast Guard as they continue operations in the water. I've also spoken with Secretary Mayorkas, who's working to ensure that all DHS assets are integrated. So in many ways, our work is just beginning to rebuild this bridge and deal with impacts in the meantime, to reopen this port and deal with supply chain impacts in the meantime. But today we are most acutely focused on the emergency operations underway and on the families that have been impacted. I have no doubt that we will rebuild together and that Baltimore will come back stronger than ever before. And with that, I will turn it back over to the Governor to lead media questions. Governor?
Governor, the missing people, have any been recovered? Any alive? Any dead?
There's no new information about the search efforts that we know. That we still have the 6 individuals who are missing.
Governor, when you talk about the investigative standpoint, how concerned are you if there were any safety violations on this ship or the track record of the owner operator? And Mr. Secretary, if you could speak to that as well, do you have any concerns about that? Mayor Scott, we also didn't hear from you. What are your thoughts on this tragedy today?
Well, I'll take it first, and I can pass it off to Mr. Mayor. I know there's a thorough investigation that's going to be going on about everything that took place last night, the things that led up to it, and also the aftermath. And so I don't have any further comments about any concerns that we have about the companies that are involved, because there's still a thorough investigation that's going to take place.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. I think we all know this is an unspeakable tragedy. And while, as the governor just said, the investigation is still underway, all of that can wait. Right now, this is about the lives of those individuals that we are searching for and nothing else. Everything else, this team of folks will work together to make sure that we rebuild and do everything we need to do for our port. But right now, we need everyone to understand this is about the lives and those families who are deeply impacted.
Governor. Secretary, this is, we've seen now several bridge collapses happen over the past couple of years. Obviously, this was a catastrophic event, but that bridge fell very quickly. How concerned should Americans be about the bridges that they're traversing every single day in this country?
Well, this is a unique circumstance. I do not know of a bridge that has been constructed to withstand a direct impact from a vessel of this size. What I will say is anytime anything happens to any bridge, we as a country take that and learn from that. Learning from incidents as diverse as what happened to I-95 in Philadelphia, what happened to I-10 in Los Angeles, or another case that we're learning a lot from here, which is the 2007 collapse of I-35 West in Minnesota. Let me emphasize that was a very different circumstance with very different causes, and the NTSB by design is independently leading the investigation into what those causes are. No question that we will take all of that information and apply it in our future work.
Mr. Secretary, how long are you preparing for the shipping channel to be closed? And you mentioned supply chain. What else are you doing to make sure other ports are prepared to maybe take on some of that?
Well, the port here in Baltimore does the most vehicle handling of any port at all. And that's just talking about the vehicle side. You also have container traffic, you have bulk traffic. There is no question that this will be a major and protracted impact to supply chains. It's too soon to offer estimates on what it will take to clear the channel and reopen the port. There is one part of the facilities here, Trade Point, which is located at Sparrow Point, which is outside of the part that's blocked, but the main part of the Port of Baltimore is, of course, inside the channel that has been blocked. This is part of why we're fortunate to have that newly stood up freight office, which, along with the Maritime Administration and all of our interagency and intergovernmental partners here, is we're going to make sure we coordinate. There is no central authority that directs maritime traffic the way you have with air traffic. So it's going to be important to have a number of dialogues established with ocean shippers, beneficial cargo owners, port operators, and everybody else who plays a role here.
And I'm sorry, Governor, just for clarity, a question from this morning. It was unclear if there were any vehicles on the bridge when the vessel hit it. Do you have an update now whether there were actually vehicles on the bridge?
There's still an investigation going on about which vehicles that we had that was on the bridge. The thing that we know that we also can verify, though, is the quick work of public officials and law enforcement who kept more vehicles from coming onto the bridge. They undoubtedly saved innumerable amount of lives last night.
So you're still looking for 6 people, and that's it, as far as you know.
Our investigation has not changed on that.
Thank you very much, guys. Can you tell us about the companies involved? The companies involved here, the shippers, the owners, the insurance companies.
We'll come back to that.
Thank you.
We'll come back to that.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Sorry about my fingers.
No, I figured. No, don't worry about it.
Camera, the mic, have it all set up.
Hey, you have 5 tonight. You ready?
It's still on his shoulder.
Thanks, man.
Oh, you did. Good to see you, buddy.
It's just,
Wow, thank you.